Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. Thank you for tuning in on a Saturday. Always great to be with you, talking a little real estate, having fun in the studio. You guys know it's that time of the season. It's hard to believe it. In a blink of an eye, it's going to be gone. So thank you for tuning in. We got a good show, got a lot of information. I think it's a good show. Why? Because we created it, man. Spent a little bit of time here. And we're going to talk about it's the end of the year. So, December, not only is Christmas right around the corner, but it's end of the tax year. And so we have been crazy busy in December. This goes for a lot of my clients and potential clients that we talk about. People say, well, I never want to put my home on the market in November, December. I'm going to wait till the first of the year. And I can't tell you how many people we've talked to that is the norm. But the last 60 days has been madness around here at Hometown Realty. And we were just working with some great clients that we put under contract, off-market deal. And we'll talk about that and how that ties into a show. So it's just been madness. And, we were thought, hey, holidays, spend a little time with you guys, do a little radio show, do a little shopping, do all those things that we couldn't get to through the year, right? And then, it never changes. Me and April always say every year it's the same thing. We always think we'll get a little break. We can do this. We can do things that we need to administratively or for the company employees. It never happens. We just worked on all of our Christmas cards. So the whole staff had a part in that. And so that was eventful. Fun stuff. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I'm Ryan Coleman, your host, owner, and founder of Hometown Realty. So if you're tuning in on the first time, maybe you catch us on 92.3 FM. How about 98.7 Talk FM? Good stations, both good stations, and appreciate you being with us. Housekeeping issues. In case you catch us on the show and maybe you didn't have a chance to hear us on the radio, you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can catch us on our podcast. We're streaming live, and we have those shows recorded for you. Easy number in case you ever need anything. We always say, make you part of the family. You're out and about. It's the holiday season. You're thinking about buying in 2020 or maybe selling, and you just don't know where to go. There's a lot out there in the marketplace. There's a lot of news, and just not really sure what to do. Give me a call. We're always here for you, me and April and our team. Easy number and the best number in real estate, 693-SOLD, and call me anytime, okay? Let's talk about the show. I think it's a good show, but before we get into the show, we always got some congrats and some housekeeping issues for our great clients. So we got some new listings on 170 Peak Lane, saying that right? Peak Lane in Clinton. Great property, large acreage, 5 or 6 acres plus, garage, perfect for, say you work on automobiles, boats, mechanics. It's already set there with the structure on the property, pond. Definitely want to check that out on my website. 8604 Fox Lonis Road. Maybe you've heard of that right here in Hardin Valley area. That's coming on the market tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. That's going to go pretty quick. And then 134 AT Crumley Way in Blount County. Beautiful luxury property. The views on this property, if you come out the back, in the back where the pool, some of the views are some of the best I've ever seen. So you want to check that property out. That's on my website as well. And if you're looking for an investment property, we still have time to do that 1031, or if you're paying cash, 3715 Cinnamon Way. Property's investment property in the Smokies. Gorgeous views. And then we've got a basement that's unfinished where we could capitalize, probably sleep with another 10 or 14 people. That means more cash flow. So make sure you check out that one, 3715 Cinnamon Way. Congrats to our friends, 268 South Long Hollow. Congrats to go under contract, 221 Indian Creek Road. Under contract pretty quick. Indigo Lane, a lot in the Smokies, sold. And then how about our off-market deal, 1706 Springer Road? Went under contract. Thank you guys. And then some congrats to our great people, the Brewers, Sandpiper Court under contract, Creek Falls Way. Wanda, thank you so much. Let's get into the show. All right. Long-winded, but it's a lot of work. I told you guys we're working extremely hard for the holidays. So this is a good show. And I was doing this as the end of the year business owner. We own some real estate, and I know you guys do as well. Or if you don't, if you're thinking about getting into investment real estate, we're talking about ways that we can avoid tax time, avoid, Uncle Sam, any more money than you have to pay them. The way the government's printing money, don't give them any more money than you need to. Let's do it fairly. Let's do it right. And let's do it real estate wise. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a maybe not a well-known. I was introduced to this year. I've heard about it, but it really applies to us this year and what some properties that we're doing. So our topic of the show is cost segregation. So if you're not familiar with cost segregation, we're going to cover cost segregation, how it can affect you buying property in 2021 and 2022, and help avoid your income, avoid less tax paid on that income to lower your basis. So, full disclosure, we have some guys out there that will say, well, you're not a CPA. I'm not. I'm just a real estate guy. But we do it, and we have a great team with us. I have accountants in my office. So this is our research. Do your own research and do a little education on it. It's a great topic. There's a lot of different articles out there about it. And check with your CPA. They're going to help you, walk you through the process. Not everybody's set up for a cost segregation, so make sure you get the right team that's going to talk to you about it. So cost segregation, how does that work? What's the process? Well, what we're going to do is if you take a property and you buy it, the laws allow us to basically depreciate things over a period of time. So let's just say your interior walls, security system. How about the flooring? What type of flooring do you have? Do you have carpet? How about hardwood flooring, laminate? It just depends on what it is. Some of those items are allowed to be depreciated over 5 years. And then we have some that are dragged out, kind of pushed out, as I would say, for a 15-year period. So you have our landscaping. So you have a paved driveway, gates. What else could be done? Gutters, siding, things like that that are maybe stretched out for a longer period of time that they're reclassified. So, let's say you buy a $1 million property or investment property or multifamily property. It could be less, but let's just use $1 million. Some of those items are going to be stretched out over 27 years. Well, what we're going to be doing this cost segregation and why it's advantage for you is we're going to force depreciate that the first year that you own the real estate. So we'll talk about all the details, but basically we're forced depreciating all that in the first year will lower your basis, lower your income, and then ultimately less money for the government to blow. All right. All right. So let's talk about it. All right. So not used for your permanent residence. So, if you're buying your permanent residence, it's not going to work. It will work, believe it or not, 4 units, 6 units, 8 units, 2 units, any investment property, but it has to make sense. So if you're buying a $200,000 investment property, the cost segregation is probably not going to make sense because of the cost. Now, remember, keep in mind that we're only working on the building. So we're going to break down the building itself. We're not going to go into the land, although the driveways and things like that does come into play, but we're focusing on the building itself. That's why they're going to say, ideally, if you're going to do an investment, you want to do it for probably somewhere around $600,000 to $700,000 value on the building. But keep in mind, guys, with the way of cost and how everything is expensive, that's why you want to research into a cost segregation. And there's professionals that we're going to tell you about that kind of get into it. Let's see, what else we got here? Now, this is something that I kind of found out and we weren't sure. So we own some other property that we were thinking about and we go, okay, how would this take effect this year? Let's say you're going to pay Uncle Sam a little bit more money than you want to or need to, and you had a good year and had an opportunity this year to kind of offset. Well, what if you bought something a couple of years ago? Can we do that? And the answer is yes, from what we found. So you can do something that allows rules of purchase. So let's say you bought something 3 or 4 years ago. They allow a one-time catch-up to look back. It's called a look-back study. So 2017, you put a property into service, you bought it, you renovated, you did some work to it, but now it's 2021 and you need to make some tax moves. We're planning, we're strategizing, it's the end of the year. And we're going to do a cost segregation. And then we're allowed to go look back to 2017 and maybe segregate it. So there's some opportunities on the table that's going to allow you to do that and then save some money this year. See, that's one of the biggest challenges. I kind of talked to great clients that we helped this last week. They're doing the same thing. So we'll kind of go into the break and talk about some great clients that we had. So we had some clients from Illinois that we just helped service and put under contract. And like everybody, they had a good year or some had a little bit better year than next, and they had some extra tax consequences. So we did the 1031, which if you guys are not familiar, 1031 just allows you to sell that investment property and then roll it over or buy something else. There's certain rules and requirements, and I won't get into all that, but they met the requirements for a 1031, and then they were going to do a cost segregation on this luxury cabin that we sold them. But it was very time restrictive, and it has to be done by the end of the year. So they're doing those two avenues and to avoid a lot more taxes that they're going to have to pay coming forward. And then I'll tell you more about their details and search and how we all made it pull together here and kind of closing in 25 days, believe it or not. So we're coming up on break. Stay with us. We'll talk more about that here in a second.
Knoxville and East Tennessee. The region is known for its rolling hills, rivers, and lakes. There's no better place to work, live, or raise a family. Home is where your story begins. Buying or selling your home is a big decision, and you need a real estate team you can trust.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, your hometown experts. Whether you're buying or selling a home, let us develop a winning game plan for you.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
Your friend promised we wouldn't be homeless.
He promised. He's doing everything to fix it.
You need to call and have him fix it now.
Hey, man.
Found us a house.
No, not yet. Let me call you back. We're working on it.
Ryan Coleman with Hometown
He says he's doing the best he can do, honey.
Well, he's taking too long. I knew we should have gone with Ryan Coleman.
Choosing the right agent is never easy.
Call your hometown experts. We'll take care of all the details and make sure you don't get stuck in a motel.
All right, we're back after the break. Thank you for staying with us. We're talking about our great clients that were coming in from Illinois. But let me stop real quickly. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty. So excited to be with you. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We're doing this show, and it's a good one. We're talking about cost segregation. How do you avoid paying a little extra taxes and using this into play to buy real estate by the end of the year? So our great clients were coming in from Illinois. And what we needed to do was to buy a property. We're going to buy two, believe it or not. Ended up buying one here in Tennessee and then one out of state to avoid some taxes. So with the 1031, they were able to kind of buy the property here and then cost segregate what they need to do. The key thing about that is the segregation study does not need to be done by the end of December because they're going to run out of time on that. But the cost segregation can be done the following year, next tax calendar year. So there's substantial savings. I'm going to go over some examples on that. But literally, I think we went through 4 or 5 properties and we're going to close in less than 20 some days. Get it all done. Like the last day, that's how you end 2021. Great clients, a buzz of properties, helping them save a bunch of money. Came to us last minute. They said, Ryan, can you make it happen? I said, sure, we can make it happen. They said, we talked to another agent in Kentucky and they were just, absolutely had a hard time and just couldn't figure it out. And they were getting frustrated. And I said, well, you do know that you're giving me 20 days to close. It's not cash. You got to get an appraisal. And we got to find properties in a market that's one of the hottest in the country, but no problem. We got your back, man. That's what we do. And I said, just work with me. Trust me. We've got your back. And you know what? We did it. They trusted us. And that's why we do the show every week, for you to trust us, give us an opportunity. By far, we're not perfect. My wife was just telling me that earlier. She lets me know all the time. But we give you 110%. We give you 110%. And I hope that you appreciate that. So great clients. Congrats to them for being under contract and getting that done. And so, all right. So we're talking about cost segregation and how this actually works. So the previous property can't be going back more than 7 years to look back, but you have an opportunity to do a catch back, a one-time look back. All right. Now, when you do a segregation, somebody's going to do a study. They're going to basically break down all the flooring. They're going to break down the walls, they're going to break down the security cameras. They're going to break down everything in the building and depreciate it. Now, it needs to be done by a professional because obviously they have to hold up to the IRS standards. I have a company here. If you're thinking about them, don't know them, but we got them online. They have good reviews. RCG Valuations are out in Arizona, and there's a lot of different companies. Their website is rcgvaluation.com. Okay. Check them out. Now they say, oh, Ryan, how much does the cost segregation cost? Could be $4,000 to $5,000. It could be up to $25,000 as big as the property. A guy that I was talking to the other day, he said, hey, I did 180,000 square feet and it cost up to $25,000. But some of the savings could be in the millions. So sometimes it makes sense. Let's see, what else we got? It's just a lot of technical information here to go through. Let's see. Now, one thing to think about on this is it's not something that you flippers are out there going to fix a property and sell it and make a quick profit and I'll do a cost segregation. So we'll talk about that and kind of what happens if you do that. But basically, if you're buying a property and planning to hold on for the next 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 years, it may make sense. If you're going to sell it in the next year, there's something called recapture tax. And so you have to be really, really careful. So when you recapture, all right, that means they come back and if you sell it, then you're going to have to owe the depreciation that you got on the front end. So make sure you do your homework on that. Now, one of the biggest things why cost segregation in 2022 is going to be strong, we got our President Biden that's talking about on 1031. So I know a lot of clients that we're talking about are worried that the government's going to get away with 1031s. Right now, we do not know. Again, if you're tuning in for the first time, a 1031 is a tax exchange where we're selling that property. We do a ton of them. We're selling that property and then we're going to roll it over and buy another one. I've done 2 or 3 this year myself, and we're doing 1 here in the next week or 2. So we've got a great team, and we understand the process on that. So if you need a great agent or a team that can help you in that process, we're more than able and willing to help you. But on that 1031, it was interesting to kind of talk about that. You say, okay, well, I'm going to do the 1031, and the government is trying to limit the gain of $500,000. So you sell a property for $1 million, you got $500,000 on loan, you got $500,000 in gain. Well, the government's going to try to limit that to $500,000. Now, what we can do is a cost segregation. So when you purchase that property or sell that property, you can limit the gain that you're going to have because a lot of this depreciation will come into play. And so it's going to be a component that you're going to work with your CPA on to do a 1031, but also do a cost segregation to kind of offset some of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Listen, as small business owners, guys, what we've got to do and why we bring you this show is to give you ideas. We say inspiration to kind of do a little research on your own, to kind of look into these things, because that old saying, I always tell everybody, listen, nobody's going to watch your money like you. And so you've got to be doing your homework, got to be doing your research, and the tax laws and everything's changing rapidly. Now, let me also throw in this. There's so much. We probably could do 2 shows in this. It's kind of fun stuff. I was telling my accountant before we did the show, I said, listen, not only are we going to do one of these, we're going to do a show on it. He kind of laughed at me. I said, well, why not, man? Why wouldn't we do a show on it? Let's let the people, let our family know, man. So I was not aware of it. I'm by far not a tax guy, but it was something that made sense. And hopefully we can pass it to you guys, and hopefully it makes sense for you. If not now, down the road, when you buy some property, you'll know about the cost segregation. But let's look at the cost segregation, and guess what also makes it really, really attractive. So if you're familiar with some of these big SUVs and different things like that, you're familiar with a law. It's called tax law. It's called 179. 179. Well, basically 179 is a bonus depreciation. You're going to bonus depreciate. So if I buy a camera, they'll let me depreciate the whole cost of the camera that year. So the 179, you see a lot of these SUVs, and we have them, and you can depreciate it. It's called bonus depreciate it the whole first year. So with the Coronavirus Stimulus Act, I'm not pronouncing it right. Nick, I don't know what it was. Let's see here. Yeah, the Stimulus Act. So with the Stimulus Act, doing a cost segregation, the neat thing is, you check with your CPA because there's certain rules and restrictions, but you're allowed to take that whole cost segregation and bonus 179 it that year under the COVID Stimulus Act. So those were rules in the last year or 2 that were just put in play. That could be substantial savings for you on taxes. That could be the difference from you owing the government tons of money and you just did a cost segregation on top with the laws. The challenge is, guys, nobody's going to give you that information. If you go to your CPA, they're just going to process the tax return. Yeah, you might get some advice, but nobody's digging into it because it's not their money. Let's talk about the segregations. We talk about the cost on those. Give you an example. Before we get off the show, we got a little bit of time here. But let's give you an example of kind of how this would work, and give you an example kind of right here on the air. I know it's a lot to cover, We're covering a lot. It's getting into the weeds. If you're like me, this is not fun stuff. But, when you're talking about saving money, all you guys should be listening. We're going to put it on our blog. We're going to do an extensive blog on this. So make sure if you're out and about, give us about a couple of days next week. And we're going to put it out on ryancoleman.org. We'll have it out there with some information, the video. You guys can go back and revisit it. All right. Let's say you had a purchase price of $345,000, property basis of $310,000, passive income of $45,000. And then we have operating expense of $10,000. So an example on that, depreciation without cost segregation. So straight line depreciation, $11,294. Taxable income, $23,706. And then you have taxes of about $52,515. So $5,000, over $5,000 in taxes. Let's do the segregation. Segregation was $33,791. Taxable income, $1,209. $266 in tax. $5,000 to Uncle Sam, $266. Now that's a small number, nothing shabby on that. But as you can see on the scale, the larger properties, cost segregation can be a valuable asset in buying investment real estate and purchasing, whether it's multifamily or cabins or any other kind of investment property that you're looking for. As always, get with your CPA, get with a team that you need that can help you walk you through that process as always. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. I always enjoy spending time with you. We have a couple more shows before Christmas, so we're going to have fun with that coming up. If you missed the show, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget our podcast. As always, we're your Tennessee Realtor, proud sponsor of the Vols, always bringing them back and supporting our Vols here locally. Hey, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. As always, if you need me, this is the best number in real estate. It's 693-SOLD. That's 693-SOLD. Or if you want to check me out on the website, it's ryancoleman.org. Guys, have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Saturday.